Okay, only two here right now, but we'll see if others may join us. I'm going to keep this fairly short, probably about 10 minutes today, unless we have some things to discuss. Oh, Kayla's coming to join us now. Um, First of all, just the kind of the big picture, what's going on. Beside the fact I got Christmas lights behind me here, I'm in the studio at school, and where I will not always be here, but often will be. Okay, so what's going on? The hybrid classes are virtual till January 15th, and we were told to do a certain schedule for the hybrid kids online. So that doesn't really affect this class because I'm going to stick with my usual 2 o'clock Monday and Thursday time slots. I think that works pretty good. That's what we've been doing, unless there's a reason to change that. Of course, next week will be Thanksgiving. So because of that, I'm not going to give as much work next week, and we'll just have the Monday session. Obviously, we're not going to do one next week, Thursday. So we'll see what happens. But either way, we'll go ahead and get started and talk about a few things from this week. If you got questions or anything, you can either unmute yourself and ask, or you can type in the chat. Okay, so for right now, I want to make sure, yep, that we got here. No, yeah, Noah got his in there, Kane's in there. Kayla, if you can put a hello or hi in the chat, that's how I'm doing attendance. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look at what's going on this week. Okay, we'll go to our classwork. We'll go to week 11. Time flies. A number of things going on here. We wrapped up the Dropout Nation video. Hopefully, you guys found that combination of interesting and sad. And like I said on Monday, I'm not going to go into this much because I talked about it quite a bit Monday. This is a problem that exists everywhere. This particular documentary went to an inner city, mostly minority school with a very high dropout rate, but these problems exist everywhere. We have this at Harper Creek. We have students in the same type of categories. As you probably noticed, the one thing they had in common was they had challenges at home. Now, most everyone has some challenges at home, whatever they may be, responsibilities, sometimes problems at home, whatever is going on. So most people got some things that can be challenges at times, but some of these type of students tend to have a combination of significant challenges, maybe more so than many other students. Having said that, there are obviously students who got all kind of challenges that are still finding a way to get through it all and graduate high school. So, hats off to those that do that, that can deal with that. But at the same time, there are people who, that's it's hard, and if they live in an environment, both at their home life and in their community, where that is common. You know, I've had students here at Harper Creek say, I'm the first one in my family to graduate high school. And so, if that's the kind of environment someone's from, hopefully the people came before them are encouraging them to graduate, but in some cases they're not. And so there's a lot of challenges out there and reasons for that. Also, there's positive things, as we saw in there. One of the stories, he did graduate, he went into the military, and hopefully went on to a successful life. Hopefully, the other three turn things around at some point in the future, but we don't know. I think somewhere on PBS it might have an update on some of them, but I don't know. Okay, TED Talks. This one is inside the mind of a master procrastinator. I When I first saw that, I thought, I think all the students need to see this because, especially with online learning and technology, that kind of has brought this to the forefront. And that is when you're on your own and someone's not telling you when and how and where to do something, it can be that much harder to get things done. So, and he does it in kind of a humorous way. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun one to throw in there, connected online learning. But that's kind of like a little side thing. Now we start a new chapter 7 and 8. Now, this week we're starting it, social control and deviance and social stratification. Um, and these are, I think, they're really interesting areas. Social control, you may not really think about it a lot, but there is a lot of ways that you and me are being socially controlled. Okay. But we'll start with our country. Our country wants to have certain amount of social control, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, social control can have positive sides to it, and it can have obviously negative sides to it. But people generally follow norms and expect others to as well because they have internalized the norms that they feel are useful and appropriate. A lot of social control is from the culture, and that could be the bigger culture, like say American culture, and it can be from your own culture, your family and your ethnic group and your religious group and your peers of your fellow teens, and what community you live in or what kind of people you hang out with. And there's going to be different norms, and if you follow the norms, great. And if you don't follow the norms, there could be some kind of sanctions. They could be people not liking you or criticizing you or getting some type of punishment, whether it be formal or informal, and so forth. So, the main idea of social control is norms must be followed for society to run smoothly. They are enforced through internalization and sanctions. Okay. And I'm not going to go over this in detail today because you're just getting started on these this week. It gets into all kinds of things, including deviance. That's kind of interesting. And stratification, we're going to be talking about. How society gets stratified into like upper class, middle class, lower class, working class, lower middle class, upper middle class, and so forth. And it can also be stratified by popularity, be stratified by power and prestige. There's all kinds of stratifications out there. So, and there's something called the caste system. We don't have that in the U.S., but they have it in places like India. And so we'll be covering that also. Okay, so you're starting on that this week. I didn't make it due this week. That's going to carry into next Tuesday. So that'll be one of the things carrying into next week. So you can get that done by Thanksgiving. Second chance kids. I'm just going to touch on this briefly, and then we'll wrap up. Second chance kids is this is kind of a controversial topic. Back when there was a big crime wave in the late 80s and 90s among young people, including teenagers, murders, and a lot of it was drug related, things like that. There were a lot of tough laws passed, and in the process, it would not uncommon that they would take someone 17, 16, 15, I'm not sure how young it goes, and charge them as an adult and give them an adult-like sentence for things like murder. And sometimes that was life without parole. So somebody 17, 16, maybe 15 could go to jail with no possibility of being paroled. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 2012 that that was unconstitutional. It violates cruel and unusual punishment because they're considered not to be adults. And the logic behind it is if someone's not an adult, they should at some point at least be given a parole hearing. I don't think they said they absolutely got to let somebody out, but they should have a consideration. Okay, so unless there's a really good reason to keep them in jail forever, at some point they could be paroled. So this does some of these stories, and it talks about includes different points of view. Some people, especially victims' family, one victim's family said that the person who killed their beloved family member should be given a second chance, and another victim's family said no, he shouldn't be. And you can obviously sympathize with what those people have gone through. But they also do the stories of the people involved, the poor decisions they made when they were teenagers, and their attitudes and so forth. So that brings us back to things like criminal justice and sanctions. Right from our chapters 7 and 8. These are not norms. It violates the norm to commit a crime or murder. So this is where we have formal sanctions, we have laws, we have punishment. So I think you'll find this quite interesting if you haven't watched it yet. It's 54 minutes, and then you have a little assignment to go with that. Okay, and then these pages got some other information on them if you're ever curious about that. So that's what's going on this week. Next week, like I said, the chapter 7 and 8 carries over to finish up into next week. I'll probably add, another video or two, nothing too heavy or too long, maybe a TED talk or two or something like that. I'm looking over some options right now. Then, so we'll have a little bit next week. We'll have a online session like this on Monday, and then enjoy your break for Thanksgiving. And with the pandemic, I have a feeling a lot of people are not traveling. I know I'm not. And then we'll come back to normal after Thanksgiving. So if you got any questions, unmute yourself or put them in the chat. If not, thank you for coming. And you may, yeah, I'm just checking the chat. I don't think there's any questions. Okay, you guys have a great day. Kept it short today. And, let me know if you ever got any questions or anything. Take care.
Bye, Rio.
See ya.